Welcome to the Layla Show. We took like a lot of hiatus for like 6 months, but we're back with our first new guest. And you know the drill. It's coffee chit chat and life talks and love and all the good stuff. So today we have Audrey Abshire here with us. And she grew up in a military family. So with that, she is no stranger to travel. As a child, she moved around a lot, California, Colorado, Italy, and settled in Washington, D.C., where she worked in corporate sales for most of her adult life until we met that year too. She shifted to the digital nomad lifestyle of solo backpacking to 17 motherfucking countries in 2019 while teaching yoga and blogging about her travels. And since 2020, she has been rooted in Port Angeles, Washington, which I'm going to go visit soon, so I'm excited. She now holds the title at RWR as a travel retreat specialist. And also, she has her LLC, Deep Rooted Retreats, which there's a retreat happening this summer too. So, yeah, welcome,
Thank
Audrey.
you so much for having me, Layla. It's so great to see you and be with you again.
It's
It's been
great
so
to see you
long.
too. I know we met in what 2019 at a yoga retreat in Costa Rica.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was what, 5 years
It
ago?
feels like 10 billion lifetimes ago,
It
honestly.
does. It honestly does. I can't even believe it's only been 5 years, honestly.
Right? But yeah, I mean, like you've done so many. I mean, when you were there, you were just off what? Was that before or after you did like 17 countries?
That was before, and I was honest, I was about to get married to a guy, actually. That was when I was going through this like whole eat, pray, love thing because I was about to like buy a house with my corporate sales saved money and like literally get settled with this guy who I thought I was in love with and would have totally been divorced by now. So thankfully I went to yoga school and met you, and here I am, a whole new version of me, which I feel so independent at the age of 34, and I feel like I that past version of myself, I just don't even really, I can't even recognize anymore. It just seems like so far away from who I am now.
I mean, yeah, that's like the best thing when you just, I mean, I can't even imagine like knowing you if you had gone down that road. It's like gotten married, like,
Married with a house in Virginia, like no, I can't see myself doing that. But everyone has their own paths, and honestly, it was an eat, pray, love situation where I broke up with him right after yoga school, and then went back to Costa Rica and worked at this like yoga exchange thing in this private beach, and like healed my heart, founded my version of myself, and then backpacked the world. And I was like, wow, what a different life this is like than I would have been like totally controlled in this other environment where I, feel very distracted and in this type of society. So it's nice to have explored the different cultures globally before COVID, because we just went through a pandemic, in 2020, which you and I kind of met up again after yoga
we
training. So it's kind
did.
of after I traveled, after you moved, like what was your journey after yoga school?
I moved back to California like pretty much immediately after yoga school. And I mean, like I'd lived on and off in California for since 2014. But I like sent it. I was like, I miss the Bay Area. I'm just gonna go. I had like no money. I had a broke down car. I was like, I don't care. It's gonna work. And I found
It
I
worked.
was like, okay, so where do I live? So I found this lady on like Craigslist, I think, and she was like, I'm trying to put together a healing retreat. And I was like, word, I could go live there for free. I went there, like, no, she was like a hoarder, just crazy, crazy, crazy situation.
Mhm.
Like she had like a bedridden, very sick husband, like just like very toxic energy. And I was like, all right, well, this is my home base. I'm gonna go find something better. And that's how I met my roommate Mark, and that's where you visited
I
me.
remember Mark. Yeah, I came to visit you because I had moved across country. That's right, because I got stuck in Costa Rica during COVID and fell in love with the same place that I healed my heart in. So it felt like a home base for me was Costa
Right.
Rica. And then I came back and I moved from DC, my little city life that I had lived in for 15 years of my life. And then like drove cross country, met up with you, And then we got our diving certifications. Like we
We
did that
sure
all
did. And I
diving.
suck
I'm
because I've
proud.
never gone diving yet. So like you have.
Layla, that's not okay. Okay, we have to go diving because I think I finished mine in Hawaii after that. And then I met which I just went back to in Hawaii to marry my friend. Like my friend just got married there. So it's like all these little like meetups and like situations, like it seems like it's all like alignment with where we're supposed to be at right now.
I think
And
so.
I'm so excited for you to come here in Port Angeles where I'm now rooted because it's like you and I met in Costa Rica, which we both like founded as like a yoga regroup, refresh, retrograde, you know, Saturn return, whatever. And then now it's like we're in this whole new after pandemic world of like, what are we doing now? Trying to like ground down. And you and I are both Tauruses, so we both know like we're not giving up on our dreams and we're gonna push through.
Never. No, we like
So
never.
excited because I remember speaking to you about starting a podcast back in 2020 when we got our diving certifications, and now it's 4 years later, and look at us.
We did all the we're pretty much doing all the things like that we said we would do, which is pretty great because like I do feel I don't know, I think that yeah, never give up on your dreams, but then like there's
Yeah.
someone like me who just I kind of bounce around to every ideology of any dream I've ever remotely had in my life, but like eventually it always comes back to the core ones. Like, I messaged you like, "Oh, what's up with retreats? I really want to get involved." And you're like, "Well, I'm doing a retreat." And I'm like, "Okay." But like that's something I said I wanted to be involved in like what, like 6 years ago, and just like totally was like, whatever, whenever that comes up, and I do feel like you said, it's all connected though. Like I do feel like we put these ideas in the universe and like, but when the time is right, like those things do come back, like when you're really
Mhm.
ready for them. And I do think that's interesting and just like how that works. Cause I'll like literally go so far away from some ideology and it'll just like come right back when
Yeah,
I've
we
done
went
whatever I have to do to get myself to the place to be able to do that.
because after California, when we went to Bob Dylan's house, I'll never forget that moment of my life with you going and dropping off a letter, a poem that you had written after you wrote your book and like I loved supporting you in that, experience because that was just
Wild.
like a once in a lifetime situation. And then you went to France. Like you you literally just like picked up your life from California and went to France. And then
Yeah.
you returned and I'm like, where has Layla been this whole time? And then now it's like a whole new version of you, a whole new version of me. And I was like in Guatemala, like working with this crazy travel company. And like now I'm back and just kind of regrouping. And I'm so happy that you're going to come to Port Angeles because it is like a very much like a witchy, like exotic kind of
I'm gonna
town
be
in the middle of
obsessed.
nowhere. And yeah, it's all like just very extreme types of people here, from like hippies to like practical, like moms, like family oriented and just like not very spiritual. But then again, there are very spiritual people. So it's very interesting
Sounds like
dynamic.
a mixed bag.
Very, very much so. And like it takes 2.5 hours to get from the city to here. But I'm excited because the Deep Rooted Retreats LLC that I established is for kind of what we like you're doing the tarot card reading and teaching yoga, like what we both have like founded our gifts. But the whole point is for people to like get back rooted into themselves, which, being Tauruses, we know how to ground ourselves pretty well with that energy. But I do think that like with the group that we're gonna have, it's like I still have one more spot left. So if anyone's listening to this and wants to come join us, you're more
Yes.
welcome.
I'll put the link in the description of this podcast and on my Instagram, Layla Show, and all that. Cause come join us. Like we want you. We want
Yeah, we're gonna be doing cold plunges, hot tubs, by this river, paddleboarding, and a lot of adventures that are gonna be like cacao ceremonies, like I do in Costa Rica. So I've already hosted 4 there. I'm having another one there in January. But these are places that are kind of secluded in the peninsulas, like really secluded in nature. So you're not distracted by like your everyday technology. I mean, I don't understand why we're trying to go to another planet and we're like NASA's like trying to find this dark matter. I don't really know why I'm going down this conversation, but
I love that because I think it's just fucking wild. Like every time I'm like okay, so every billionaire builds a dick-sized rocket to the fucking space so we could go like why? Like
why?
why
Mother
would we
is
because we destroyed
dying.
our fucking planet so bad? Is like are we just so pissed because instead of being a good billionaire, you were a bad boy billionaire and ruined the fucking planet and now you're like, let's get the fuck out. Peace.
It doesn't make any sense. Like we are just going away from our senses, obviously, as human beings. And it really is discouraging, which is why it's like women need to come together. And I'm so sick of like how our patriarch society has not evolved at this level of like consciousness, because after the pandemic, it's like, whoa, people woke up finally. And it's
No, the
like,
fuck they didn't. They got worse.
we're
I
still
swear to
doing
God,
the
people
same
got
shit
fucking worse. I feel like they got worse though. Like, yeah,
because
remember
of the, yeah.
like they were like, oh, on the Golden Gate Bridge, like coyotes were roaming around, like emissions were down, like all this fucking stuff. Like people were like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people started businesses, great. A lot of people like connected over the connectees in a different
Right.
way, but I just feel like it also birthed. I think I think like great the global agenda. I don't know if you want to call it that. I do feel like well, separatism has always been like the goal of the whatever, the patriarchy or whatever. And I do feel like because we gave people so much ease with connecting online, it did kind of like, and then life came back and it's like, okay, well, now we don't want to
Addicted.
leave our house, even though we can now.
Addicted
What's the
to the
fucking point?
technology. Yeah, and addicted to this whole like idea of like scrolling and being on our phones, and just like everyone is just still in survival mode where they're like ADHD. It's like, what's going on now? Like just it seems like people still haven't gotten their nervous system at the level of like grace and like peace and like being rooted into their bodies, and instead it's like owning this property, owning this land, and like separating and keeping things controlled. It's like that is not United States that I want to be in. Like, no, thank you. This is
No,
not
not at
United
all. That's why
States
I
at
tried to leave
all.
this fucking country, but you know.
You can't really escape it because it's the most powerful country in the world. And I wonder why. And like, when are we going to have a woman president? Because our mother is obviously telling us she is dying. Like, it's like over 100 degrees in California. Like, there's all these hurricanes,
Someone
all the
just like a bunch of people just died in the fucking desert. They were like, "Oh yeah, we were driving on a motorcycle, dead." Like, all right, fine, yeah. Like,
people need to educate themselves on what is going on, but they rely on the media, which is telling them all like what they want to hear instead of them actually digging deep into what is true to themselves and like what is actually happening in reality. And I think that's where people are like basically addicted to like what they're listening to or what they're following on either social media or like the news, and instead of actually trying to educate themselves like by just like listening to themselves and what's going on around them.
right,
Like
because it
people have
really is.
not emotionally mature. It's like their emotions, they don't understand it. Like we have so many adults living here that are
Oh
childlike.
my God, I know so many people who literally act like 12-year-olds, and it's like, and it's like because we do have all the answers, like, yeah, of course we're gonna go through things. No, I don't fucking know anything or everything, but we have all the answers
Oh,
of what's right on a fundamental, like, soul level for ourselves and for the things around us if we just paid attention to, yeah, our nervous system, yeah, our intuitive abilities, yeah, our emotional scale, because like, but like we're also like tuned out from our emotions, and people's emotions are so like wishy-washy all over the place. And like you said, there is that ADHD. And I mean, I feel like I've always had a little bit of ADHD brain, but it's like
yeah, me
the
too.
more that we like push this like separatism and stay inside and pandemic and look at these 5-second videos, people don't even have like the gall to read a sentence anymore because that sentence is now too long. And it's like, and I'm just like putting all these things in this little tiny like microscopic bubble, and like so my feelings kind of pass in the same way, and it's like there is just so many dysregulated systems running along around here, and just like
It's true. It's
trauma like bodies like just
yeah,
mess.
that haven't healed. It's like if people haven't healed their traumas, and I mean we go through trauma every day, but it's like if you
Every
don't
day.
take time and use the excuse of I don't have time, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
Like you make time for yourself. Like
you
stop
have
using the
to.
excuse of I have a baby or I have a husband or I have a parent that needs me. No, you need
People love excuses though.
they do. It's like they come up and like if you go to a yoga class, like that's not enough. Like it's
No.
just like I feel like people aren't trying. Like I remember in college, that's when I first went to yoga and it was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, why do I feel so good? And it's like I went to the training because I had like realized throughout my experiences of yoga, it's like I wanted to learn more of why it was helping me. And then I started to learn how to meditate. And then I learned how to like listen to my body for the first time at the age of 29. It's because our we don't get educated in this realm of mental health with connection with our body and soul because I don't know why are we not educated in this realm? Maybe because we're
Because
owned by
people
men.
like control, because I don't know, because the world is literally run upside down and backwards, and that's something we
Yep.
can never understand because it's
But
very
we women are
simple.
not still not equal to men. It's like wait,
No, we're
women need to realize that we are still not equal to men, yet we
no,
still
not
like
even close, not even
nurture.
remotely close.
No. And that's what I think that's why I'm like, I don't have the patience to continue to like have compassion for the society that we're kind of in right now. It's like I try to like root down into my own like ancestral and like heal this trauma and all this stuff. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the only one doing this. Like everyone is doing their
No,
best.
Audrey, it's just you. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just frustrating. I'm like, why does it seem like there's not a majority of people that are trying to get better at this, what we say, life of living like consciously? It's just like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
No, it's
the
never made any
majority of the
sense
United
to me.
States that is the most powerful, has everything that they need at their fingertips besides how our economy is structured and government. But it
Right.
just
Well,
seems that like when you go out to these other countries and you meet these other like cultures, you like look back at yourself in the States and it's embarrassing, honestly. It's like,
it's fucking embarrassing. I'm ashamed to have been grown up here. Like, thank God I'm half Iranian because people fucking love Persians and they're like, thank God. Like, we love your ancestors. And I'm like, yes, that's
yeah,
my saving grace right now when I'm in the Mediterranean. They're like, you look like
yeah.
us. Your culture is kind because like otherwise like I don't want to be one of like but yeah because it's the misuse of power to answer that question because we why is it because we let little fucking boys, and I'm sorry, men, I
Yeah,
love
we need
sex
men.
with you. I love you for certain reasons, but like you're emotional, like men, don't take this offensively. You are simple creatures. You don't have like that complex like thing that we have. Like men are very, very, very simple. So basically, but you still
What
have
is
to
the
heal.
thing?
And like, so basically, a bunch of unhealed men who never learned how to like, whatever, probably all have mommy issues, basically, which will
Yeah,
unhealed emotions run the world, and that's why it is the way it is. That's
it
why
is.
it's
It's
the way it
that's
is.
why we're banning abortions now. Like, what the fuck is going on? I'm sorry, but like
I can't
everyone should
even with
have a
that. Like,
choice.
that's insane. That's like, and I like don't like, and I think
They
like
cannot control my body. There's no way I am letting any government control my body. I'm
absolutely
sorry.
the fuck not. But it is, it's just like, but I think it's just these things keep escalating in their like ridiculousness almost because this has been a problem since the dawn of fucking time,
Right,
way
right.
before this modern society, but it's like the more we don't do it, like the more you don't heal your trauma, the more laughable the situations and the more blatantly obvious. Like at first you might get like a
Yeah.
little ting in your back, but then that ting
Yep.
in your back turns to cancer because you didn't deal with like the things. So it's like,
Yep.
and that's what our world is doing. It's like, okay, we had like little things here. The little things are getting bigger. Now the planet is literally about to roast us all, and
Wake
like,
up.
women can't get abortions. Like it's not like subtle anymore. There's no subtlety in this
No, you
situation.
can't keep using excuses. You can't keep like brushing it off your shoulders. Like, oh, we're America. We're going to keep shipping things from China. Like, no, people, stop being so lazy. Like, it's just, it's like the privilegedness that we have. Like, so many people are dying in other countries. I mean, there's a war going. Like, it's just like when you take a step back and you really look at the world perspective of like why we're here, what we're doing here. Like, yes, I'm so proud to be American, but at the same time, like,
No,
how?
I'm
How can
not.
you be proud? And we just like went through 4th of July, like Independence Day, and I'm just like, wow, like just being in this small town, the education, it just like it blows my mind that people don't realize like how embarrassing it is, and in a way that like
Right.
Coming
Right.
from a military family, I'm sorry I keep talking about this, but it's just one of those things that it's like you when I grow up in a place that I could see like how much power we have from that level of like safetyness. It's like, yes, I feel safe here, but at the same time, I don't fucking trust our government. I mean, did you see what happened with the pandemic? Do you see how many people are overweight in this country and how
Oh, I
unhealthy
don't
we are?
trust it
We are
at
one of the most
all.
unhealthy countries, yet the most money. Like, I don't get how where the money is going.
To rich people to
To another
rocket to
planet? Why are we
space.
trying to go to another planet when
Because
our
we've
own
killed
planet
ours.
is
I think it's
dying?
just egotistical, like, like I think it's honestly a lot of ego and pride and like I can like, it's that stupid 12-year-old male ego. Like I can take over another one. Like
It
I want
is. It
them
is.
all.
It's sad because I think a lot of women are not really because I remember taking like a women gender studies course in college, and I'll never forget like how much we like have fought in the past. And I think that's why like I can feel it in my body, like my ancestors talking to me. It's like this is why my purpose here is because we're just so tired of being in these types of societies controlled in this way. Like it's just it can't keep going on anymore. And like this earth is going to die eventually. Like, do people not realize like we need to be helping the environment and we're not? Like every day it's just
No, but it's crazy because it's like I feel like when we grew up, it was like, yeah, 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 the end of the world. But it's like the like how quickly it's escalated over like the last like I can't go outside anymore in the summer without like getting heat stroke or like fainting. I went outside for like 10 minutes yesterday and had such a pounding headache and got so dizzy that I just like had to go back in my house. And then like the AC in my house wasn't cold enough to cool me off from the fact that I went outside and I'm sitting on the couch just with like a thing on my head, like just dizzy. I'm like, are we all right? Like, I don't, first of all, I don't know, you sick fucks who are outside right now. I don't know how you're doing it, but
yeah. What kind of water are you drinking? Like that's the other thing. It's how much like chlorine is in your water? Are you like
so
really in
much.
your water?
Oh, are you still selling those Kangen water things?
Well, I don't really like promote that. I have a machine and it's like literally changed my life. I did save up enough to buy that last year and I've had it for almost a year now. Yeah. But it's kind of like a home base in the sense of like water. We are 70% water
Yeah.
and what you put in and on your body matters. And so this water has like 9.5 or in like to 11 pH, and your normal tap water is 7 pH. And so if you buy this like what $5,000 machine that is a good quality, this like Japanese man, yeah, Kangen is means original, come back to original in Japanese. To like nature, he was mimicking nature in terms of these titanium plates like a river to filter the water and then go through this system and this machine to change the pH so that like everyone in their home can have this machine, because he probably knows like the majority of people in Asia and stuff like need this clean water. And us in the States, it's like we don't even like try to test our water and we're using Brita, which is bullshit. Like
Yeah, what is that even
government
doing
doesn't
for
care
the
about our health. It's
and I
obvious.
don't really feel like those are actually filtering any well, maybe they're filtering some things, but think about it like all the other stuff in it. How is that? There's no way to filter out like all of the crap in the water. There's
No, it's like the
nothing.
holistic health we need to be bringing from the east to the west. Like we need to be balancing east and west
I
practices. Like,
agree.
yes, science is for like extremities. Like that's why you use this science machine to mimic nature and spend all this money to get you this water that like is amazing magic water. It literally helped me with my fracture of my ankle that like has completely healed now. It helps with so many things. It's just like and like
Thank
I stopped drinking
God.
alcohol and I completely changed like my body and stuff. Not that that matters, but it's just
I
like
mean, it does matter.
it does because this society like are all alcoholics. I feel
Oh, I
like
mean,
rely on
literally
alcohol.
everybody. I mean,
United
it's the
States.
most it's the most well to do. I mean, it's the most easiest accessible poison
cheers.
me,
Let's
you know?
just cheers because that's what we like to do and then feel horrible the next day and just it's just a pattern
Right.
and like
And I feel like, I don't know, like you can't even like, I don't know, I still drink, but like try not to, don't drink at home. But like, like sometimes I just have to say, like, I just had to tell my family, like today, I was like, I'm not going to Cape Cod with you guys because like every time I get back on schedule with my own life and my own journey, like I get invited to this big fucking drinking party and then I'm like drunk for 3 days. And then I'm like, okay, well now I have to recover for 2 days from this drunk I was for 3 days. And now like I'm 5 days behind my real life. So
and
I'm
you know that because you've been doing it your whole life because it's like a
like,
pattern and if you don't break it then nothing's gonna fucking evolve. So why are we not taking a step back and changing our ways and stopping like put boundaries? That's the thing is like we've never learned
boundaries are fucking everything.
they're everything, yet we don't know how to practice them. It's so frustrating.
Oh my God. I remember like when back in what, like 2000, what, when we were talking all the time, that was like the biggest thing. I was like,
2021. No, yeah, it was
yeah, 20,
2021.
like, oh,
Yeah.
we need that.
We
Like,
need boundaries. It's like, because that's what happens, like for me and Thanksgiving. Like I go and we watch what football and drink and play games, and it's like I
all right,
feel
sports
like
ball, just
shit. I feel like absolute shit. And this past Thanksgiving, I didn't drink and I still got made fun of. It's like when I would drink and get drunk, I would get made fun of.
you're
When
damned if you do, you're damned if you motherfucking don't. I
I
know.
don't, it's like, sorry that I'm different. Sorry if I'm a black sheep. I really don't care being the black sheep in my
I
family,
think
but
it's you want to be the black sheep on. I mean, you don't necessarily want to, but it's good. It's a good thing when you
it's
are.
my
It's a good thing.
purpose right now. That's like what I am. But that's why I feel like everyone has their identity that is like set in stone when they get married, buy a house, have kids. It's like, oh, that's your
Oh,
identity.
all those
Great.
things I'll never do.
That's a
Amazing.
great life for you. That sounds like super evolutionary and like solving a lot of problems for the planet and for our life. It's like I feel like it's kind of selfish, honestly, sometimes to have a baby.
Oh, I think
Um,
it's so fucking selfish. Unless, I don't know, unless you're like gonna raise it to be a super fucking human's great, but like I think that is like a lot of work too. Cause I think like if in any universe I went absolutely batshit crazy mad and decided to have a child, which will never fucking happen, how then? Then I would have to remove it completely from society. First thing, I would move out of the country because fuck this education system. But
yeah,
then either way, like
education.
I'm raising it alternatively, and like, then my kid's not gonna grow up around other kids maybe because I'm like, well, fuck that kid. Little Timmy is a little asshole and his parents are fascist. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I don't know, like you can't really win with that situation. It's very difficult, even if you have good ideology on raising your child, because like schools suck,
Yep.
don't teach well, like all of the systems, like I don't want a kid. I don't need to grow more of these little people that we have running around, but I don't want kids anyway. But we don't need to like keep perpetuating the same, like, why? Why?
The
Why do you
same
send them to
person, the
school?
same lifestyle. Like, why people are so scared of change because of the way that they're addicted to the same bullshit. It's just like,
Which is
why? I mean,
crazy to
the
me.
amount of people that have gotten cancer, the amount of people that have died like from like mental health, like why aren't people waking up from these facts that are like reality and like that they know but yet ignore? It's like the
Right.
ego yet again. It's like that side of the brain people aren't tapping into, the Vegas like part, like the what is it, the primal whatever point of your brain.
Yeah,
But
the primal something cortex or
yeah, I just feel like no
whatever.
one knows how to really tap into that because they've never been educated on meditation. And if you don't really understand what that means, like maybe go to a yoga training, maybe YouTube these days. There's so much YouTube like videos
So
to
many.
educate yourself.
But I also think, I do think a lot of people are like turned off, like if you're not like tuned in at all, like to the concept of like meditation, like per se, as like just this like huge entity. But like meditation doesn't have to be sitting and singing Kumbaya, literally can be going
Right.
outside. It can
That's
be
what I
going to
mean.
the beach. Yeah, I know. And I know that's what you mean, but I think like because when we say like, I think some people don't know that until you
Yeah. And when we
know that.
say yoga, that's the other thing. People think it's
Think
like
it's
what,
like straight
stretching?
up dog. That no, yoga is a state of mind, and I think that
Yeah. It's
and
getting to
people
your
don't know
unity.
that. you
Your
know?
UTD. It's not about wearing Lululemon and what are you gonna wear and look in the mirror and getting in a headstand. It's like that's such a
Girl, I
Western.
feel like that was our whole fucking yoga teacher training though. Can I
I
just
know, but it's because and then after that, I backpacked to India and I'm like, what the fuck did I just learn in Costa Rica? Like, that was not real yoga. The real yoga, which was invented in India, is like actually where they're chanting and getting to the like their unity of themselves, like getting out of their like subconscious. Like, it's just like people don't know how to do that. And I'm not like one that's like the best teacher, which is why I love just like hosting retreats.
Yeah.
But I feel that like, yeah, it's like people don't like know because our like the people in power aren't making it a priority, or our education system isn't. Can you imagine though if we had like yoga in when we were teenagers, if
I
we
mean,
learned.
I know we need it. It's like it's absolutely ludicrous that we don't. And I mean, and I agree. And then I feel like, there is like micro communities, but then like again, they're just like, there it's not like nobody knows this. I just feel like micro communities are almost gatekeeping these things to like
Yeah.
protect the integrity of their micro community. And I know I've joined a million micro communities, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's just not hitting because yes, we don't teach it by the masses. And then everyone who knows kind of just gatekeeps and hermits and like keeps it to themselves. So it's a problem. It's a
It
problem.
is. It is. I wish there was just more of the like ecstatic dancing, like things that like actually get into our bodies instead of it being so much sports related in this country, which is so egoic and competitive. Like that's the thing about
Fucking hate
competition.
those like it's so dumb. Like I
It's
think
the most
sports
like
is so fucking asinine.
that's why there's war because people are angry, people are competing. It's like, why are people fighting about land when over here in the States it's like everyone's fighting about who's gonna win a fucking game? Like
I have never,
that
like, I grew
cares.
up near Boston and I have never I used to go to like House of Blues when I was like young and like go to a concert, which was near Fenway. I have never seen a more violent group of people than men after a sports ball game.
That
Ever.
exactly, exactly.
And
Like
in
it's
fucking France with the fucking, they used to kick us. So like in the south of France, because soccer, they would kick the women out of the bar eventually during a soccer game because they knew that the men were going to get so fucking violent. And they're like, we don't want the women to see that. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
yeah, yeah. If only in the military and these other ways, people learned how to like meditate and actually handle like conflicts in a more like toned down manner. Like, can you imagine like if like we listened to our intuition and our gut and actually like responded in an appropriate, respectful way, like of love rather than fear? It's like
It would
stop
be
being so
everything.
fearful and competitive and instead being more loving and graceful. Like could you imagine a world where we are tapping into our like truth and nature, natural love, like the goodness in us? It's like, where are we going? Why are we trying to compete? Why are we trying to go to another planet?
Going
Like,
so fast. Like what? Yeah, like literally, we're all rushing. I always say that, like we're all rushing around to get literally nowhere. Like, where do you think you're going? Like, you're not
yeah,
actually getting anywhere.
your home is in your body. Like you don't like, and that's the thing about this country too. It's like everyone thinks that they're just because they're from a certain state or they're from a certain area that like that's their identity. It's like, oh my God, I was born in Colorado. I lived there for 2 years and then I moved to California 5 years, Italy for 3 years. It's like when you move around, you realize so much about how people get stuck in their little world and not
You really
educate
do.
themselves on like other ways of life. It's like you don't have to stay in that same little cycle that your family was in, that your parents were in. Like, don't you want to change? Like, it's
Like,
just
don't you
people.
have the like desire to like? I've never understood. Like, I don't know. I've been traveling since I was allowed to legally leave my nest because like I would have gone when I was 12 if they had fucking let me. But
Yeah, do you see how the birds, we're like little birds. We need to leave our nest and learn how to fly. Like you
yeah,
need to learn how to fly on your own and not from your parents. Like your parents don't control you after the age of 18 in America. Like
no.
you are allowed to keep going in your own direction.
Right. But I mean, like, this is stuff I teach in life coaching. Like, get to the root of it. Like, why are you so conditioned to the point where you're literally just so petrified to do your own thing because, like, you don't even know, why you believe the things you believe because they're not yours, they're your family's. And that pressure and that like complete, like, I don't know, luckily my family, well, any pressure they did put on me, I was like literally a loose cannon, and they knew I was gonna blow, and nobody could tell me anything, and no one can, and I'm still
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
But
Same.
most people like have that, like a lot of people, like your family wants you to get married and like go to doctor school because they were a doctor. And like, that gets stuck on you. And that has nothing to do with you, but it's like, and then you have society telling you to like get a house and a jobby and like work and never have fun and don't have fun till you retire and you're fucking
Yeah.
old and not hot anymore and not having
And
fun.
you like can't even travel when you're in your 60s. It's like so hard to
Like,
travel. It's like, what
well,
kind
like,
of
that like
lifestyle is
it just
that?
depends because like if you take care of yourself in your 60s, you're still have a banging body and you're still going. Like my mom's still hot as fuck at 60, but
Oh
she
yeah,
takes care
there
of
are
herself,
people.
and
Yeah,
like she does yoga and she might I mean she's stuck in the material world like a motherfucker and like her job sucks. But she does mind the health and the wellness and that kind
there's
of
a balance. There's always a balance.
balance.
But that's the thing is like you are, is that like, but we're still set in that society of like the 1970s where it's 9 to 5. I like saved
What
up
the
and
fuck is 9 to 5? And wait, hold
I know.
on. For the ones in the back, I worked a jobby job the other week at a golf tournament just because why not? Let's just try this for 5 days. I
Right.
worked for 5 days and the amount of money I got paid, I like literally wanted to spit on it. It's like I spend that in like a day. Like it was just peanuts. And I was like, are people really out here working for this right now? Like you're going to work every single day, having 2 days off, and this is not even paying for you to go out to like that's not even paying your rent.
It's because our economy is like so corrupt. It's just like we are working robots. Like, why are like that's the thing. It's like I asked my cousins what they're up to. It's like work. I'm
Work.
like, oh, great. That's a lovely life. Like, what is new? Like, oh my God. If you talk in cities, it's like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm Amazon, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, lovely life. Like, can you tell me something different? Like, when you go to any other culture, they love to talk about other things and like it just seems like it's so boring and like
It is so
practical. I'm
boring.
just
We
like, get me to
identify ourselves
Latino culture, get me to another culture where I can actually thrive on that energy.
exactly because we identify people by what they do. Like I don't know, I go out all the time and people like the first question they ask me, what do I do? And I literally just giggle and I'm like, that's a loaded fucking question. They're like, well, what's the answer? And I'm like, I don't have one. I live
Yeah.
Like I literally don't have one. What do you want from me? I dog sit sometimes. I do this sometimes. I have a life coaching business. I have a podcast that doesn't pay me. I write books and stuff. What the fuck kind of question is that?
Yeah.
I live
That's
my
because
goddamn
the
life.
ego wants you to be identified. It wants you to be in this little box that I can identify so I can judge you. It's like, stop trying to judge me. I am not like you. We are all unique, but we are all the same fucking light. Like, can you not see we are all beings? It's like people want to put you in boxes. I'll never forget coming to this town and you're either like a rock star or a country girl. And I'm just like, I'm neither
Why
of
do
those.
I have to
My
be one or the
AOL
other?
my AOL like name was Rockstar, but like that was when I was a teenager. Like I fucking evolved. Like I am not in this little teenage girl that like is like a freaking rock person. Like I'm sorry, but I've moved on. I've traveled. Like I'm sorry, but yes, I do have the privilege to travel and I feel bad for people that have not been able to travel. But it's just, it seems that like you can watch movies, you can tap into these other virtual worlds, but still have the same like worldly views. It's like, why do you still try to put people in boxes?
Right. Yeah, and that's true because people do love movies which show like diverse. So you know what I mean? It's like we love the things that are diverse, even if we're not living it, but then there's still just so much judgment and so much like not doing for yourself and so much. And I mean, I know that's why also people are like usually fascinated by me and treat me like I'm a zoo exhibit. You either don't like me, you understand me, or I literally am like a zoo creature because we live this alternative life and I always have. And it's like, like, but you could do it too. It's really not that difficult to just like not.
They're scared because they want to be in their like identified person that is so easy and
Right.
comfortable. It's
But
like
it's
get out
not
of your
comfortable because
comfort.
most people are in pain. They're unhappy. They're like, I mean, I was talking to people in the workforce, like I said, like last week, and they were all like, we all do drugs because we can't deal with our personal reality. And it's like, wow, like I remember being like that, but it's like, you know, it's just like everything's escapism. So it's not actually, you're not actually pleased. Like
Right.
99% of people are literally so trapped in their own misery. And yeah, like you said, they're afraid to break out of it. But it's not like, you know, they're not doing themselves any services. It's not like they're happy. It's not like, you know, so many people are like, well, one day I'll do this. Well, one day's never going to come because you're probably going to get cancer and die before that happens. But I digress.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's every day is a blessing. And like if you don't take advantage of your everyday, like being present, that was something that I didn't even know what the fuck that meant, like at the age of 28 after yoga school, when I actually learned how to meditate. It's like then you tap into your body and your meditation world, and you're like, oh, this is what presence means, like groundedness means, instead of like being on drugs. Like drinking alcohol is a fucking drug. People don't
It
see
is.
that as a drug. It's a fucking depressant. Yet it's like okay to do every day, or to have a glass of wine is good for your health. Like fuck that. Like of course you love the taste. And it's like this addictive like feeling. It's like smoking a cigarette back in the 70s. Like we got the picture there, but like now like psychedelics are finally coming back. It's like the government is finally starting to like maybe legalize that, and I wonder why, because it's actually good for our brains to rewire with these fungi, because we
Oh,
are like
microdosing
nature.
has changed my life a million times over.
Yeah, yeah, we need to like unwind our brain in some like magical way with natural ways, not chemical ways. It's like sometimes chemicals can also do these scientific blessings, but like then more holistic natural remedies, which is what we do in our retreats, is going to help you get rooted into yourself with your senses, into your true home.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we used to do
So,
cacao ceremonies all the time. During the pandemic, me and Mark, I'd be like, Mark, every new moon, every full moon, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to shut everything down and we're gonna go in the living room.
yep, we
We
got to
would,
do
you know?
these rituals that have been doing so for centuries. I mean, that's the thing, is Sanskrit is one of the most like the oldest language. Like that's where it's like
That
people think like just because you're from America, you can like reinvent yoga. No, you can't fucking reinvent yoga. Yoga is going to be the same thing it was when it was like in the ancient world, but it's like we need to go back to the indigenous, not go into these like spaceship like try like virtual reality. Like I don't want to live in a fucking spaceship. I'm sorry.
and I don't want the microchip in my brain where reality is projected to me. Like
I'm not a robot.
I'm not a
I'm not
robot.
going to, I
I'm a
use
human being.
AI for a tool. I use my iPhone for a tool, but I'm not addicted or relying on technology anymore in
Right.
my life, which I feel like a lot of our trajectory is moving towards that direction of technology
Oh,
literally taking advantage of us. Like,
well, exactly, because like you're right, like, and it is, it's like we all, and I mean, so many humans, I've been guilty of this. We're all looking for the next thing instead of just going with what we already know and going backwards. Like sometimes it's literally you just have to strip it down, get it simplicity, like get it to the simplicity of it all. Like we are brilliant beings underneath all this crap and this trauma and this stuff, but it's like the more junk you put in our atmosphere, the more you disconnect us from our body, from our intuition, from the language of our soul, like the more wonky shit's gonna get. Like we need to connect, we need to be present, we need to get back to the basis. We do need to listen to our nervous system, our body, our energetic everything, because we really do have the answers. We have the medicine here. Why are we trying to make new ones when we already got like the equations to literally reverse and fix everything, like literally right here? It's all here. We don't
yeah,
need new things. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to use
no.
what we have.
Right, right. It's like the more amount of like divorce, the rate of like mental health, all these like diseases that we have. It's like it's all because of this addictive, egoic like sense of trying to use band-aids instead of actually getting to the holistic root of like your issue, which you
Right.
know, you and I both have tried to heal our own in our own ways, like having acid reflux myself, like heartburn. I've changed my lifestyle and all this shit, but it's just like you have to learn yourself. You can't rely on anyone else, but trusting your own self.
Right.
And women know how to tap into our intuition. Like we are mother. So why are we not trying to get closer to her?
Right, exactly. And just like, yeah, exactly. Because we are all unique and like we do have our own path. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for me, but we all know that. And we all like, you know, and I've experimented with like so many modules of healing, and some work at one point in my life and then don't work for the next point in my life. You know, it's like,
Right.
and you can't just, there's no one equation, but there's so many
Right.
like, there's so many mental illnesses right now, and like there's so much like depression and all this stuff, but like all of that stems from the disconnection within yourself. And like, of course, if you're not aware, like you're depressed, look at where we're living right now, look at like what society's doing. Of course you're fucking miserable, but
Yeah.
it's not like giving you some lithium or whatever the fuck, I don't know what they give people or whatever, pharmaceuticals. It's literally taking them to like a retreat or something. That's what we should be doing, and teaching them presence and how to connect with themselves and unwind all that shit. We should
Yeah.
literally be taking people to the spa and or like healing retreats when they have mental health problems. But I don't know, that should be mandatory. We shouldn't even have to
Yeah. I
pay for
mean,
like spa days anymore. I don't think. I think that should be included in our government health plan.
it should, because in Asia, that's what they like do, massages all the time. And I wonder why they live so late, because they're all so healthy and they're like, we're so obese here. It's just like, it's so embarrassing. Like,
It
how
really
many people
is.
don't educate themselves on their own health? And it's like, they go on diets. It's like, stop listening to people with like, who think that they know what is good for you and your body. You know what's good for your body. So
Right.
listen to it and like use the tools that we have here in America. We have so much that we can learn from. So there's really no excuse in my sense, but
There is
transformation just
none.
needs to happen. And that's why I'm like, okay, if we can get women to these retreats to heal, to connect, to find community, because after COVID, it's like we all are still kind of in this like survival mode. I think people are still trying to find community.
Well,
So
I
it's like,
mean, I've spent my whole life trying to find community, survival mode or not. I just think like community is the most important thing
yeah,
in the planet. Like, where's
because
your vibe? Where's your tribe? Like, you need your people.
right. We are mammals. Like we are like we want to be connected with others that are similar to ourselves. So it's like, how do we get to that place? So I really hope that this first deep rooted retreats at Zen River is successful. I'm really excited to do these workshops with you. We have like a sleep doctor woman coming, and a
Mhm.
food woman who's going to do all of our food like Ayurvedic, so plant based. So there's no like toxins or meat or anything like that, or alcohol. So yeah, we're gonna have a great time. So
I'm like
I'm
very,
excited
very
to
excited. It's
do-
exactly what my soul needs. And if you
yes.
don't buy that last spot, we're gonna be sad. And I'm coming to do readings, Reiki, and I'm gonna bring some of my singing bowls on the plane, but not all the damn things. So, all the good stuff.
Yes, the sound that like that's where the frequency of our brainwave will change through these transformation. There's all these different like holistic ways of transforming. You don't have to do it through just meditation. And that's the thing, like people need to wake up and find these other tools that are available to
I
them.
mean, like,
So
even just like sound in general. If you like a music, like a band, it can be rock and roll, it can be jazz, like go dance, because that, like, go out, dance. It doesn't have to be like Solfego's frequencies, because music all has those frequencies, and just like the movement of your body releases all that energy. So, like, whatever the fuck it is for you, ecstatic motion, maybe it's like doing somersaults. I don't give a fuck what it is for you, just do it.
yeah, the whole
Move
point is for
that
you to just
energy.
move the energy around. And it's like if it keeps getting stuck and you rely on these band-aids, you're gonna get a disease, like you're gonna have a problem. So stop
Yep.
using excuses and actually do the work. Like this is where the work is. It's not like I'm making money. Oh my God, I work. It's like you work on yourself to be a person in this society so that you can have relationships with others that are more in respectful manners. Like that's where I mean by emotional immaturity. It's like people that have these jobs that are like in the six figures that are just so childlike. I don't like in their 40s. And sorry, I don't know why I'm
They're
blabbing
like
on.
big kids. They're like, but no, but really, it's like they never grew up and they
I
never
don't care how
will.
much
But
money we
but
have.
it's just stupid because they run the world. Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
give any little fucks about any of these little baby boys, but all these little baby boys run the world, unfortunately, which is just out of control. Out of, like,
Yeah.
I'll never get it. I'll never get it. And
Yeah.
like, and it's sad to see, because like even like power, like, I don't know, but even go down to ancient Egypt, the women were in charge but the men were the face, and they always said the woman would stand behind the man because they were really the protector of the realm and the protector of everything, but they still let the men just have the ego and have the illusion of being in charge, and that's just wrong, and we can't let them have that.
No, because that's the thing. It's like in every single religion, it's all saying the same thing. And that's what people need to realize. Like I grew up Catholic and I like that there was like a God in the sky or a man in the sky. It's like, no, it's not a man who is going to save us. Like
Yeah.
we're not going to heaven to be saved. Like, I'm sorry, but watch The Power of Myth and it will change your perspective on what religions are and why we are here on this planet Earth and all the quantum like leaps we can go on. But it's
Right.
just one of those things like, yeah, in all these cultures, it's all saying like women have been behind the men and that's why when this guy asked me when I came back from my world travels, he's like, why is it that so many women travel? And it's like, yeah, because we are so sick of being in these patriarch societies. Like we're tired. That's why
Yeah.
there's like pronouns now. That's why there's theys. Okay, because we're sick of it. Like we're sick of living in this fucked up society controlled by white men.
Yeah. I mean, really.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done.
No, I'm laughing because it's so true, and it's so true, but I just laugh at the theys because yeah.
It's I can't shut my mouth to things that like I saw like it's just it's you when you go and you see these different things with your own eyes, there's really no backing out. Like I can't just unsee what I've seen
No,
and it's
you can't. And I like
um
honestly I wish I've been, I mean, eventually I'll go to as many countries as you have been to. But I mean even I mean
it's
everywhere
not
I
even
would,
about that. You
yeah.
just said it in Egypt, like
Yeah.
in when you learn about these other cultures in general, it's like
And they
there's
all like, you know, and even like even right now, like all the other countries, they still like have the fundamental same problems that we have in the United States. They just like handle their people a little better and might have a better economy that works a little bit better and less debt and like less whatever. And it's easier to get a house. Like in France, there's a lot less debt because like your wages kind of reflect like your ability to actually pay for things and you have more vacation, but it's the same fucking backwards shit underneath it all.
right,
Like
right.
no,
It's still
it's a
it's
global
all government.
issue.
Right. It
Yeah,
is a global issue, but it's like that's the thing we can't control. The only thing we can control is our freaking emotions and healing ourselves so that we
exactly.
can actually be lively human beings and actually changing the world through
That is our
transformation.
work. That is like it's and it's on us. Like no one's gonna do it for no one's gonna fix you for you. Like you literally have to just like buckle up and do it. And if you don't, that's really rude to the people who have and who do. And you
Mhm.
suck and we don't like you.
Right. It's
But
like
we
we are
love
trying,
you. So fucking get it together. I mean, really, that's how I feel about it.
yeah, yeah. It's time. It's we're in the time of like there's no excuse anymore,
No, there's none. There's
especially after a pandemic when everyone had enough time to really reflect on what just happened with our government
But it
and
is, it's literally like everybody forgot that happened. Like it's just like, okay, did it though? Like, did it happen? Because
and now we're all suffering because of all the money that has been lost to the what the masks, the vaccinations we all took. Like,
yeah, I don't know
uh,
how I feel about any of those.
yeah, we don't need to get into that, but it's just things that like I don't really know who to trust in that sense.
I
With my
trust
health, I will never
nobody. I
trust the
don't trust
government
healthcare.
with
I
that.
don't trust the government. I don't trust healthcare systems. I don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust any of it. That's yeah,
No,
I wholeheartedly trust none of it. Not
just
a
the universal source, the source
yeah.
like our life source is our breath and the water, like what we're drinking, what we're putting in our bodies matters. And like if people aren't mindful of that and like just eat McDonald's and yeah, get cancer and keep on doing that same pattern.
Yeah, and I mean, I just feel like humanity's done it again and again and again, and like I just hope that this time we can break the cycle because every the Roman Empire, like every empire, every like beyond this modern society, I mean, even the stories of religion, they do it too, you know what I mean? It's like it's just the story, but you can always change the story. That's like what we do with our life. Like, we are
That's
creators, so
We
And it's
are.
on us to change that story because I'm pretty sure like all of us living here, like if I have to come back to this earth one more time and be stuck in the same human cycle, like I'm gonna be very fucking angry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where it's just like people need to realize there's like dark and light, death, rebirth, like come on. Like we all can like every day is a new day. Like you don't have to go through the same cycle. You have a choice. Everyone has a freaking choice.
And humanity, yeah, has its choice. But humanity relies on all of us to like just do fucking better. Just do
Yes, and
better.
everybody is doing their best based on their education and perspective, but it's like there's no excuse to keep getting diseases and keep stuffing your faces with emotional
Right.
band-aids.
And like you said, I think it's important to, yes, we understand, we have, like, I have compassion for where you've come from, but once you know that, acknowledge it and you choose not to move forward and do the work, well, then you're literally a shit and killing our entire ecosystem of
Not
humanity.
helping.
So
You are not helping.
you are not helping. So help. So help. That's it. Help.
Please, please help.
And book Audrey's last retreats thing.
Yes, come with us to Washington, the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful time to come in the summertime. It's already 75 degrees here. Thankfully, I'm so happy for this weather. And I'm excited to see you soon, Layla, in like a month and a half.
I know, I'm so excited to see you too. Thank you for talking with us. And yeah, everyone listening, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, like it, follow it, share it, tell all your fucking friends, and come be a guest if you want to talk about life with me, your lovely little host, Layla Ziari. That's all, folks. I don't know who I think I am, but I fucking love you. Goodbye.
Bye.